There is no saving America. There is no rescuing America. There is no Superman coming to save the day. America is going to remain exactly how it is, and probably more than likely get worse as the days, as the years go on. There is $1 trillion effort, $1 trillion effort, not $1 billion effort. There is $1 trillion effort to continuously push America to the edge. There is $1 trillion effort to keep Americans divided. There is $1 trillion effort to keep a foot on America's necks. There is no coming back from this, right? And I just sat back and I've just been thinking, for the past, few days, thinking for the past few weeks. And I just been thinking to myself, like, is America even worth saving at this point? Right now, I will say, keep the U.S. dollar strong. Keep the U.S. dollar strong until there's another alternative. Yeah, keep the U.S. dollar strong because I may need to, Scooby Doo my way up out of here. I may need to skedaddle my way up out of here, and I would love to use the power and the blood spilt over the USD to, make my life elsewhere. Right, but I just been thinking, like, is America worth saving? Right? Is it even worth saving? And I would say no. It's not worth saving. Now, like I said, keeping the US dollar strong, let's keep the US dollar strong, but as far as saving the people and, preserving what America once was, bro, there's no saving it. There is no saving it. And the reason why I say that is because people prefer the chaos. People prefer the divisiveness. People prefer to be at each other's necks, right? There is no accountability across the board. Everybody wants to feel like they're right. Everybody wants to point the finger at the next man. Everybody wants to point the finger at the next woman. Nobody is pointing the finger in the right direction. And when you have people in mass who would rather come at each other's neck when when your fellow American is going through the exact same thing that you're going through, but you'll rather come at his neck, come at her neck because of political affiliation, because of race, because of religion, because of sexual orientation, you would rather come at your fellow American's neck than to point the finger in the right direction. In mass, this is how people are thinking in mass. Are these a group of people that needs to be saved? Is this a group of people that even wants to be saved? I don't think so. I don't think so. Right? Because that's what they rather do. Right? They don't want to think. They don't want to think. They don't want to come to their own conclusions. Right? Everybody's talking about, I think on my own. No, you don't. No, you don't. People think, oh, I'm a right winger, so we have the best. We think more over here. We don't believe in all that the gender identity and all that stuff, and that don't mean you're a free thinker, right? That don't mean you're a free thinker. You just hold an opinion, right? Or you were fed an opinion by the media that you intake, or better yet, you were fed propaganda through the social media machine. Right? Nobody has an original thought. Nobody wants to come up with solutions, real solutions, concise and efficient solutions that aren't divisive. Nobody wants to come up with solutions. And the people that do present the real solutions, those people are looked at as crazy. Those people are told to pick a side. Oh, you have a solution? Oh, you must be a lefty, ninja. You must be a lefty. You have a solution. Oh, that's the way you think, ninja? You must lean right. You must be a righty. You must be a MAGA ninja, right? So no matter solutions, right? No matter answers, people are going to try to box you in. America is a land of boxes, right? America is a land of boxes, right? I remember talking to people, and this has been people in general, right? Whether it's at work, whether it's wherever I'm at, right? I noticed a pattern for you pattern recognition ninjas, right? Right? I noticed a pattern in how the general population thinks. The general population thinks in boxes, right? The general population thinks in boxes. They don't think outside of a box, right? So, for instance, when you're a black guy, right, brown guy, right, they look at you and they automatically, oh, yep, he listens to rap music, or he listens to this, or he must be this, or he must be that, or vice versa. You're a white guy. Ah, he must be MAGA. He must be racist. He must be a Republican. He must be this, right? There's never any fluidity in the way that people think. There is never any fluidity in how people perceive one another in America. You have to be this, right? Or you have to be a blackity black, left leaning, BLM supporting ass ninja, right? You have to be that. Or if you're white, you have to be a MAGA supporting racist Oompa Loompa, right? You have to be that. Right? If you're Mexican, oh, ninja, I know you crossed the border, ninja. You have to be something, ninja. I know you know somebody that crossed the border, ninja. Right? People put everybody into boxes. There's no fluidity in thinking. That just goes to show you how subpar and low vibrational American thinking is. Nobody thinks outside the box, but then politicians want to say we need to bring innovation back to America. We need to bring businesses back to America and give them to who? Who's going to lead it? Who's going to no. Even the politicians are erratic. Even the politicians that are doing the same exact thing, they're idiots. Right? And with this subpar level thinking, you think that this type of thinking is going to make America great again? You think that this type of thinking is somehow going to benefit us and make us better as human beings, as Americans, right? You think that putting people in boxes, right? Even when they don't belong in those boxes, but that's because of your perception. That's how you view the world. That's how you view people. That's how you view America, right? That you can't conceive anything outside of the boxes that you were programmed to believe, right? Come on, man. America is not a land of thinkers. America is not a nation of brilliance, right? Anymore, if it ever was, right? America benefited, listen, America benefited from being the first ones to do a lot of stuff, right? America's benefited off of being able to come up with a nuclear bomb and drop bombs on ninjas, right? And that in itself solidified ourselves as a world power, as a world leader, and the ability to go into other nations and extract resources and become one of the richest nations the planet has ever seen in modern day history, right? That's what allowed us to be top shotter. That's what allowed us to be the top gunner, right? But now those days are falling to the wayside. Why? Because we're not producing those kind of thinkers. We're not producing that kind of brilliance, right? Other countries are, right? The Chinese are producing those kind of brilliant people. The Nigerians are producing those kind of brilliant people. The Indians are producing those kind of people. The Japanese are, right? They're producing that kind of brilliance. America isn't. America isn't producing that, right? Because we've been socially programmed to the point of we can't even think for ourselves, right? We're stuck on the nipple of Daddy Gov. We're stuck on a nipple of propaganda, right? We're stuck on a nipple of chaos and divisiveness. America's nothing more than a drama show, right? And that's what Americans are used to. We're used to drama. We're used to theater. We're used to theater. That's all we're used to. We're used to the show. We're used to the pumping fakes. That's what we're used to, right? We get a thrill out of going to football games and people fighting over who's representing what jersey and who's fighting for what team. People literally get into fights and arguments about football teams, about sports teams, right? Not saying that other people don't, but based on our level of efficiency and thinking level, right? It just don't go hand in hand, right? And America can't be saved, right? I just came to that conclusion, right? The level of thinking, the level of subpar thinking, right, and the level of divisiveness that has entered into this nation, right? What can you possibly do? What can you possibly do? Religion ain't gonna save you. Religion ain't gonna save this country, right? It's too divisive. It's too divisive. How would a religion? How would the Christians save this country when you got Christians who are deploying politics at the pulpit, right? Politics and religion not supposed to mix up like that, right? Especially with you Christians, right? So if you're endorsing politicians as a church congregation, right? And I don't care which side of the aisle you're on, I believe it's wrong. I believe Christianity should be its own foundation. I believe that Christianity should be its own rock, right? And the Christian church should set the tone. But guess what? The Christian churches aren't setting the tone. The Christian churches are some of the biggest hypocrites ever. They ain't gonna save this nation. They're hypocrites, right? On one end, we don't support violence, but then you support violence, right? We don't support hate. Don't hate your neighbor, but then you got somebody at the highest level vouching for hating your neighbor, right? You can't trust the churches. The churches ain't gonna do shit. You're on your own. It's every man for themselves now, right? The ship has sailed, right? And I'm gonna get on my ship, right? The men in this country can't be saved, right? They're long gone. America's full of a bunch of blue-pilled, rage-baiting ass, low frequency as, right? No thought process having as men all across the board. These ninjas are not going to do anything but self-implode. These ninjas are not going to do anything but sit back and talk, right? The majority of these ninjas are not going to make any move. Ninja, you've been watching Andrew Tate and all of these ninjas for years now. You still sitting on the couch. You still broke. You haven't made any kind of move. Ninja, you haven't saved any kind of money, right? You still working at Jiffy Lube. These ninjas are not going to do anything. They're going to sit back and continue to push the propaganda that the legacy media wants them to push. They're going to sit back and push the propaganda that social media wants them to push. They're going to sit back and digest, right, all the propaganda and conspiracy theories that the government want them to digest. These ninjas ain't going to do nothing but self-implode. Nobody has the cojones. Nobody has the leadership. There is no leadership to do anything. Right, and it's been purposely done. I can agree to that. It's been purposely done. Leaderships have been wiped out. Leadership have been compromised. The quote unquote leaders that you do see, they're a bunch of bitches. They're a bunch of beta male cucks. Right, even your red pill, your quote unquote red pill heroes. Red pill don't exist, man. Right, and we're gonna get into that on another video. But red pill doesn't exist. Right. So your quote unquote heroes, they're not real heroes. They're nobodies. They just have a big following, and people have nobody else to follow, so that's who they follow. And they ain't leading nobody nowhere, right? 90% of them ninjas who do follow them, they're not doing nothing. There's only 10% of those guys, maybe even less, that are going to do something about their lives. And the men that do something, they're not worried about the country. They're moving on as well. They're moving on. What is left here? What really is left here, honestly? High cost of living, high inflation, right? Cars cost too much, car note costs too much, car insurance costs too much, rent costs too much, mortgages cost too much, wages are not going up. And then jobs are being replaced by AI. We're seeing massive layoffs even right now, again, from Daddy Gov, right? Unemployment is high. Nobody can find a job. What is left here? Literally, what is left here? What else is there to do? Right? The only thing left to do is use the US dollar to your advantage and move it on along. Move it on along. If you think life here in America is going to get any easier, you better wake up and drink some goddamn coffee because it is not by far, right? And we're going to see more homelessness. We're going to see more crime. We're going to see more crash outs. We're going to see more women have to sell their bodies. We're going to see more prostitutes. We're going to see more escorts, right? We're going to see more of this, right? America is going further and further down that dark rabbit hole of just becoming a third world nation with a Gucci belt. That's all it is, and I'm done. I'm done. Right? I'll sit back and talk about American issues all day long, but I am done. I'm writing my plan, figuring things out, starting some businesses, right? Starting some businesses, which I'll talk about that on the Patreon. But I'm done. And that's an after pill.